Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is 9:30, and if you have been with us before, you know that we always start right on time. Thank you for being with us. Welcome to Webinar Wednesday. I'm Diane Michael with Beyond the Boardroom, and I'm just thrilled to be here with you this morning, along with my CAM partner, Lindsay Lombardi. We will be hosting this morning's education program. Our goal is to educate board members and CAMs in an easy way at your desk, on your mobile, while you're traveling. We had over 200 registrants this morning, and we'd love to see where everyone is coming in from. So if you would be so kind to let us and our amazing presenter, George, know where you're coming in from. We have people already putting it in there because they know how this works. Tell us where you're coming in from. And if you're a CAM or if you're a board member, we love to see that. We love to see that we're educating all over the state. That is the whole part of our program. We know how important education and CE credits are, and that's exactly why we decided to launch this program. We started on the fourth Wednesday of each month and have already grown now to offer education and continuing education credits on the second and fourth Wednesdays. So please mark your calendars for the next webinar Wednesday happening on January 14th. Also, we are really excited to announce some 2026 dates for CAMs that need the legal update. We are so excited to partner with Martel and Ozum. I'm going to be putting this all in the chat, but on Wednesday, January 14th from 9:30 to 11:30, you can get your legal update. And then even more exciting, we are doing the certification for board members on February 11th and February 18th. We're doing it on Zoom, and we have amazing partners that are working with us to provide all of the continuing education credits that the Department of Business and Professional Regulation require you as board members to have. Okay, today we're excited because we have a good schedule, a robust schedule, and we have credits for CAMs that are under the HR section and under the insurance section, which we have not had before. So that will help you with your 15 required hours. Lindsay, will you just go over how the continuing education credits work, please?
Sure. So all of you that have been with us before know the way we handle this, but at the end of the course, we'll give you a link which you'll click on. And you have to do this for each course that we teach. You will go in, you will put the link will bring you to a submission form on the website, and you will fill that out with your first name, middle initial, last name. Only if you have a middle initial on your CAM license, please. And then your CAM number. And then we'll give you a keyword for each course so that the DBPR knows that we've made sure you actually attended. And as long as you fill out that form completely, you will be submitted for credit for the continuing education. So it's really important on your end that you make sure you fill in all the information necessary, or else when we submit it, they will not give you credit. It will get kicked back. So please, at the end of every course today and every course we do, make sure you click on that link so that you get credit for the courses that you do attend.
Thank you, Lindsay. Okay, everyone. And then I am putting the schedule into the chat now as well. We did have one, and why is that not letting me? For some reason. I will get it into the chat. We had to adjust the one of the courses later in the afternoon. So we will actually be ending 1 hour early today because we had to move the presenter out. Okay, without further ado, I would like to introduce you. And if you've been here before, this is a fan favorite. It's George Kennedy with Terra-Scape. I want to just personally say that I have enlisted George and his team for my home, and he came out and he went through all of my dreams, And the design that he sent me made me have tears to my eyes. It's more beautiful and more spectacular than I could have ever imagined. And it really made me realize how important that curb appeal and the opportunity to have a beautiful space is for everyone. You know, when you live at a condominium and you go to your mailbox and you know your landscaper isn't taking care of the property, you know, how does that make you feel? And so I just cannot recommend him more because he is just he's exceptional at what he does. And let me tell you a little bit about his experience. He has over 20 years in the green industry. He brings a unique blend of technical experience and business acumen to every project, backed by a bachelor's degree in business and comprehensive portfolio of state and industry certifications. Throughout his career, George has specialized in sustainable landscape solutions, irrigation efficiency, pest management, and outdoor lighting systems. He is widely recognized for his commitment to environmental stewardship, client satisfaction, and industry best practices. I'm going to read out the credentials because you know this just really shows he's an industry leader. Florida, he's certified horticultural professional for Florida, a certified Florida green industry best management practices, commercial landscape maintenance pesticide license, Florida certified pest control operator, Florida Water Star accredited landscape professional, Florida Water Star accredited irrigation professional, NDS professional drainage contractor, CAS certified landscape lighting installer, AMP certified landscape lighting installer. George continues to be a driving force in advancing professional standards across Florida's landscape industry, offering practical and sustainable solutions to residential communities, commercial properties, and environmental restoration projects. Welcome, George.
Thank you, Diane. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for being here. Welcome to Fall into Planning, how to maximize your landscape budget before year end. We have presented this class once before, late summer, early fall, but we wanted to do it again one more time before the end of the year. So in case you're still wrapping up that budget, we want to make sure that you understand exactly the types of things that can work towards the benefit of the association. By the end of the session, you will understand how to evaluate your current landscape budget, determine if it's performing properly, strategically plan for Q4 spending, and set up your association for the year ahead. What causes landscape budgets to go unutilized? Communities usually fail to fully use their landscaping budget. A few of the reasons are vendor delays. The association contact, whether it be a CAM or a board member, will reach out to their landscape vendor or another landscape vendor, and they'll say, can you provide me with a proposal to do this, this, and this? And they're anticipating that the vendor might get it back to them in a week or two. And in some cases that might be possible. The reality is most of the time we are booked out for at least a month, usually 2 months. So if we're starting that process today, that means it's realistically going to be the end of January, beginning of February before we could even begin to start on a project. And that's assuming that everything on your side gets approved and moves along swiftly, which usually is not the case. So the second reason is boards taking too long to decide. So the normal association approval time for an association that we currently work with is roughly 45 days. So that's somebody that we already have an existing relationship with. They know what kind of work we do, so there's no questions there, and it'll still take 45 days for approval. If it's an association that we have not worked with before, we typically see that time double and sometimes even longer. We've waited 6 months for boards to make decisions before. Obviously, a lot of things change in 6 months. So just be mindful of that when you start the process. Set an end date in mind, or at least a target end date that you want before you decide, yes, we want to do this project. Another belief is that landscaping only happens in spring. And the reality is in Florida, we can plant almost 12 months around the year. So I suggest typically, depending on the type of weather we're having, January may not be the best month to plant. But every other month realistically is a month that landscape installations can happen in Florida. So when you delay, you lose planting windows. So, ideally there's certain times of the year that are better than others for certain types of plants. You want to take that into account. And also, project costs can change. The economy the way it is, tariffs, those types of things, all of those things affect the type of cost that you're going to see. And it may change from, if you start the project in January and you decide not to do anything for 6 months, by July, it could very well be a different price. The other thing, final reason is many associations skip mid-year reviews. So if you've heard me before, we visit each one of our properties monthly. We do a site walkthrough. We always invite a member of the association or the CAN themselves to walk with us if they want to. The mid-season review is always a good one because realistically, that's when we want to start planning for 2026 or the following year. Especially if you're doing something on a larger scale, you definitely want to give yourself enough time to make sure that you've thought through that and planned it out to the letter. Okay, let's talk about smart spending strategies. I suggest starting with small wins that show quick improvement. These are things like fresh mulch, adding some seasonal color to the front entryways or around the clubhouses or high visibility areas. Tree trimming is a good way because lifting the load off of some of the larger mature trees in the community is an easy way for residents to see that you're doing things to improve the community. And then also entry lighting is great not only for visual impact but also for safety and security. Like I said, these upgrades are visible, impactful, and budget friendly. They're perfect for leftover funds without needing full capital project plan. Some ideas real quick to extend your budget. Ask for bundled pricing if you're doing multiple projects at once. Replace high maintenance plants with drought tolerant or native species. A fresh entry bed or color pop at the clubhouse can give your residents a sense of renewal, and it reflects well on them. So, laying the groundwork for 2026. Fall is not just about finishing the year, it's also time to start planning, if you haven't already done so. Assess the property while it's still active in use. How are residents using the property on a daily basis? Look for walking patterns. Look for larger areas of congregation if they're not obvious. Which areas get used the most? And it's also important to know which areas get avoided because it doesn't make a lot of sense to spend a lot of money in areas that nobody visits or are not high visibility. Conduct visual walkthroughs and take photos. Use data like plant health assessments. So what we recommend is when you're doing a walk, put sections of your landscape into what we call the stoplight measurement system. So a red would be this definitely needs to be replaced or repaired. Yellow means we might be able to get another year or two out of it. And green means looks good, let's keep it up. Another thing is irrigation system audits. If you haven't had an audit of your irrigation system in the last 12 months, I strongly recommend that you reach out to your landscape or irrigation provider and ask them to do one. Most of the time, they will do one at no charge and provide you with a list of items that need to be addressed. And we put ours in a triage order. So from this is most critical to least critical, we'll put that in a list for you so that you know exactly what to be prepared for. And then also, this goes overlooked a lot, drainage checks. Have you walked the property after a hard rain to see if there's areas that are flooding that need to be addressed? So that's also technically, if it's in the landscape, if drainage is in the landscape, it's considered a landscape project, not a capital improvement project. These assessments help avoid guesswork when budgeting. Don't just pull numbers from last year. Budget based on conditions. You should ask several questions as well. What is different this year in our landscape? Have we had any construction projects that have damaged the landscape? Is there anything that is dead or dying on the property that should be addressed? Have we had a hard storm that created damage on any of our plant material? Most vendors are flooded with RFPs in the fourth quarter and in the first quarter of the following year. So start the process early in fall and you'll get a faster response. Most likely you'll get better pricing and it'll give you time to compare options. Okay, let's talk about evaluating existing vendor contracts. Fall is a perfect time to review your vendor's performance. Ask, are services on schedule? Have they been on schedule for the previous 9 months of the year? Is quality consistent? Get residents' feedback. Ask them if everything looks good to them or if they see areas of improvement. Make sure that you document everything. Keep photo logs, maintenance reports, and resident feedback. This builds your case for renewals or change. Also, as I mentioned earlier, do an in-person walkthrough with your existing vendor. Ask them to point out areas that they think need attention. It will help build accountability and collaboration. Preparing for next year's proposal. When preparing for new proposals, don't rush. Use fall to build a checklist of needed items. Involve the landscape committee or board. Survey residents for feedback or community appearance. Be specific. Instead of saying entrance landscaping, say install low maintenance seasonal color with drip irrigation at both entrance signs. The more detail that you provide to us in a request for information, the better we can do in providing you something that you really want to see. How to prioritize projects for maximum. Ask yourself which projects will improve visual appeal, will enhance safety or access, will align with reserved study timelines, will reduce long-term costs. Also, you want to make sure that you don't spread the budget too thin. Focus on areas with high visibility. Entrances, pool or clubhouse areas, roadsides near main signage. Always link your landscaping back to your community's strategic goal, whether that be curb appeal, safety, or sustainability. Creating a landscape RFP with purpose. A strong RFP includes a clear scope of work, a targeted timeline, a budget range, desired qualifications or licensing. Avoid vague language. We cannot read your mind. Also, don't try to compare apples to oranges. Make sure all bids are the same scope. So we get this a lot actually, where someone will come to us and they'll say, well, we really want to freshen up the front. Can you just come up with some ideas? Well, we most certainly can come up with some ideas for you. The challenge is going to be that we might come up with certain ideas and that budget might turn out to be $20,000, let's say. Someone else might come up with a different set of ideas and theirs comes in at $15,000. So now as a board, you have to make a decision and you're not really comparing two of the same. So a strong recommendation is come up with a plan first, whether it's a plan that you pay for from a third party, like a landscape design company, or whether you do something in-house. There's lots of apps out there now that can, let board members tinker and come up with something, at least a bare bones sketch that's going to give us, something to work from. And that really benefits you as the association, because now you're not struggling to try and figure out what was on proposal number one that wasn't on proposal number two, et cetera. Ask for references, not just recent ones, not just best ones. Ask for references from 2 or 3 years ago. Ask if there's landscape that has been installed for multiple years that they could go take a look at. What are the green or cost saving practices that you would recommend? Let your vendor show you the value beyond the base. Ask for credentials. As you could tell from my introduction, we believe strongly in credentials. I'm not the only person in Terra-Scape that has a list of credentials. We have many employees that do, and we pride ourselves on the fact that our employees are well trained. So you want to make sure that employees are properly trained. What type of industry credentials do they possess? How long have they been in business? And if they can provide photos of similar projects that you're asking to be completed. Okay, so I will open it up for questions. And if anybody has any, please put them in the chat, and we will answer them to the best of our ability.
Okay, we do have a question that popped in. Should landscaping be part of a reserve account that is not a capital improvement, but yet be considered a fund that is directed towards landscaping yearly?
I don't know the answer to that question.
You
I can
stumped
find out.
George. Okay, we stumped George.
I don't, landscaping is typically not put into as a capital expenditure unless it's something that's going to be permanent. Like if you're putting in, let's say, a new hardscape area with a fire pit, that would go into a capital improvement budget and more than likely need to be approved by 2/3 of the association. But for things like landscaping that can be changed, I don't believe that they need to go into the capital budget. But I'll get an answer for that.
Okay, and I will make sure that I get the name of that CAM so that we can follow up with you. If anyone else has questions, they can put them into, okay, we have another one. How often do you recommend a wet check be performed on properties?
Monthly.
Do you want to highlight what a wet check is for those that may not know?
Yes. A wet check is an irrigation system check. It's basically where we show up, we go through each zone on the property, we turn it on, we check the heads to make sure that they're all working properly, that there's no dry spots, there's proper coverage. We'll clean out nozzles if necessary. If there's minor repairs, we'll make those. It's all going to depend on what our agreement with the association is. So normally ours is if there's a repair that's up to $200, we will make that on site, so we don't have to wait for approval and then come back a second time. If it's over that, we will provide you with an estimate of what it's going to cost and wait for approval to do that. So it's just a way to make sure that your irrigation system is in proper form and function. And we strongly recommend it every month.
Okay, any other questions before we go into the Q&A or the quiz? Okay, let's see what they've learned.
Okay. Real quick, just to wrap up, remember these key takeaways. Don't let your fourth quarter dollars go to waste. Small projects can have a big impact. Use fall to plan for next year to get ahead of the curve. Engage your vendors with data clarity and vision. Okay, now
George, I'm sorry to interrupt. We did have one more question pop in.
No problem.
Do irrigation systems need to be fully replaced throughout their life, or can you replace items as needed?
95% of the time, the irrigation system can be repaired as needed.
Okay, another one. This is also an insurance issue due to trees falling. It can be a liability. This is also insurance issue due to trees falling. It can be a liability. Not sure about that question. If you guys want to, if you want to put that in again. Anyone else? Okay, sorry, George, go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Since there is a limit to watering days, how do you suggest to protect the grass?
We encourage to water deep and infrequent. So what that means, instead of running your system 3 or 4 days a week, we recommend running it for 3 or 4 days a week, let's say at 15 to 20 minutes per zone. We recommend that you run it 2 days a week at 30 minutes or an hour a zone, depending on the type of sprinkler. So watering deep also encourages deeper root growth, which is long-term better for turfing plants.
Okay. All right. Summer burns are crazy since there is 2-day restrictions is a comment that came in. Any comments on that, George?
I didn't understand the question.
Summer burns are crazy since there is a 2-day restriction. It was a comment.
Right. Watering deep will absolutely help you with that.
What time of year do you recommend hurricane cuts to palm trees?
Staples are the most common palm on property. And the sable palms, depending on the weather, we'll see typically they'll start in late June, or they can seed as late as August. But we recommend waiting until all of the seed pods in your sable palms have sprouted, because then when they come to trim the palms, they can trim the new seed pods to get them out. Those are the seed pods that drop, the berries turn blue and they drop on your pool deck, and then they stain it, or they stain driveway. I mean, they stain everything. So if you do it earlier than that, then the seed pods will still come out. And now if you want to get rid of them, you're gonna have the tree company come back out and trim them again to get rid of the seed pods. So definitely wait until all the seed pods have sprouted. Like I said, normally they'll start late June, early July, and they will sprout occasionally up through the end of August if we've had a really dry spring and summer.
Okay, I love it. We keep getting more questions coming in. Do you suggest trimming royal palms or foxtails, or let them shed?
Um, so foxtails will naturally shed, rows will naturally shed. I it depends on the age, for starters. As foxtails get older, their seed pods will come out, and those will not drop. Those have to be cut off. So seed pods, yes, cut them off. If it's brown and hanging and it doesn't look like it's about to come off at the base soon, I would cut it. Otherwise, just wait.
Okay. Do irrigation systems need to be fully replaced throughout their life, or can you just replace them as needed?
We answered that.
Okay, sorry. Okay, here's in response to the question before. What I mean is not preparing landscaping for safety reasons. This can be an insurance issue for lack of maintenance. Insurance costs are already high as the industry has become difficult. Okay.
Yes. And so we mentioned doing walkthroughs, monthly walkthroughs. We always make note of anything that we see on like larger mature trees that could potentially create an issue, a liability issue, like falling on a car or a person, something that could damage property, or just fall and then create a road hazard or something to that effect.
Okay. Someone asked about if you get the PowerPoint slides, and just so that everybody knows, we are always videotape these education courses, and then we send out the videos in the email directly following. So the next email that you get from me and Lindsay from Beyond the Boardroom will have the videos, and we think that that's the best way to share the knowledge that George is providing the course to board members and to fellow CAMs. But if you want the slides directly, you can email George and his contact information will be at the end. Okay. Whenever you're ready, we'll go into the quiz and see how smart everybody is.
Okay. What is one key benefit of using leftover landscape funds in the fourth quarter?
Okay, everyone, for those of you that are new, you can go ahead and just type in your response into the chat. You can see if you are with the majority or if you're on your own island. All right, we've got all of the same answers coming in as A.
It is A. Okay. Which is a smart fourth quarter landscaping investment?
Okay, and more have come in. They're coming in. They're coming in. Okay, I'm seeing all of the same. Don't cheat. Don't look in the chat. Just type in what you think. We have all, well, we have some A, we have some B, mostly B.
Okay. B. If I was doing a pool presentation, the pool guy would probably say
Okay, there you go.
that. Why is the vendor evaluation in the fall important?
Okay, we've got all B's.
Good. And B is the answer. What should a landscaping RFP prioritize?
And again, we've got majority over here. We've got smart people. Oh, we got some, we mostly C's, some B's.
Okay. I won't argue with B. Vendor.
Yeah. You won't
What
be
should,
fired.
what should, oh yes, let's see, yes. Which of the following is a fall preparation tip?
Hey, coming in, coming in, coming in. All of the same. All right. They're all saying C.
Okay. See, it is. How can boards ensure vendor alignment with community needs?
Okay. They're all coming in as C's.
Okay. See, it is. What is the consequence of unspent landscaping budget?
Okay. They're all, oh, okay. So we have some, mostly B's, but some A's.
So the answer is B. Most of the time, I'm not aware of it rolling over. Most of the time, it usually gets put somewhere else if you don't use it. So we always try to encourage that everybody uses. Fall planning helps communities by what?
Okay. This one is, okay, it's kind of all over, A, B, and C.
Okay. So C is the best answer. Let's just say that. An example of a proactive fall activity is
And we've got majority going with B.
C. What is one strategic advantage of fourth quarter landscaping upgrades?
And we've got, okay, we got some varying. Yeah, we've got some varying on this one. Kind of all over.
So seasonal discounts would be the best answer.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you all for being here today. I hope it was informative. And I will let Diane and Lindsay take it on from here.
Let me see. Updating equipment for okay, so a comment. Updating equipment for irrigation can be an overall savings, including water costs. Yeah, good
Absolutely.
point. Good point. Okay, everyone, if you want to take a look at the screen and take down George's information or screenshot or take your phones out and take a picture of it. I don't know what's going on. You know, every webinar Wednesday, there's some kind of technical difficulty that we find. For whatever reason, I'm not able to paste into the chat. So if you'll just take that picture, or write down his contact information. George, where are the service areas for you and your team?
We'll lose account.
And then do you, if people are, because we have everyone from the state of Florida, we a lot of people all over the state that are with us this morning. Do you do consulting?
We do.
Okay,
Absolutely.
good. We highly, highly recommend George and Terra-Scape. And if you all don't have any other questions for George, we'll let him get back to his busy day.
Thank you
Thank you,
all very much.
George. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.